What's up? It's your girl, Miss Microchip, aka the Brain Hack Queen, coming to you with another one. So I'm sitting in the rescue mission and trying to watch a movie and chill. And they're using those machines on me, so it's like saying that there's supposed to be like a family intervention being held here because the family doesn't want me to be transgendered. But as it's like running, it's like some message just like running through my head with the microchip, and I'm like blinking like as it's like going through, like someone's like trying to putting it through my head, like it's sending it, and I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, it's like I'm an ant, like I'm like a computer or something, like trying to download it in my mind. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing to me? So like, I know I'm not sure the proximity of these machines. I know they have to have some. I know the transmission is actually in the rescue mission, um, but I'm not sure the radius. I'm not sure of any of that because I'm not really familiar with the technology. I've been learning. I've been getting a little bit, but once again, what I have received is it's satellite, which brings me to the next point. So before, when I was in Snowshoe, um, someone that I was associated with, Brian Brubaker, I used to rent from Dave Simmons and Pete Monaco, which I decided to move. I'm not even gonna get in. I'm just no longer. Um, but anyway, I was told that they were going through some military training, like contractor training, to do extractions, where like it's like, and I'm not fully familiar with it except for to say that if there was someone that was held up in a location, a secure location, a fortified location, to be able to get them out. Um, Systematically, or to put it in layman's terms, to explain it to someone that's not military, because I'm not military and I'm not really familiar with it, just from a little bit that I've studied. When the military went in to get out, went to assassinate bin Laden, they did reconnaissance on his fortress or whatever, but it's a use of bright lights, cutting off internet, water. You cut off food supplies to be able. It's a series of tactics and things that are done to be able to force people out of hiding or force people out of a secure location, a shelter, a house, or whatever it could be. Um, so I'm not sure exactly why realtors would need that type of training, and that's not my business. That's their business. However, with what happened to me, and what happened to me in the intel that I've received is some of the situations could be that I've been in were in fact life or death situations. However, some of them could have been orchestrated theatrically, uh, to to um, to simulate a situation, terror, life or death situation, whatever it is that they were trying to construct, similar to that of like a theatrical production, like you would see a play. You have the sound effects and you have the different people in places. You have your prop guys doing this. You have things of this nature. Um, and again, I'm not familiar with their business. I'm not familiar with their training. This is just from a victim's perspective of what I've been through, what I've been told, and what I'm currently going through. So to hear that, it being broadcasted repeatedly, that of course Miles Laughlin, Brian Brubaker, Dan Smalls, um, be along with Jay Bishop, and I mean it's been Jehovah's Witness. Just run the gambit on what's happened as far as me being drugged, beaten and raped, whether it was by a truck, in the apartment, outside the apartment. I mean, they said that I got thrown off the roof. I was left in a ditch. I was left in the woods. I don't know. I don't know. There was a situation, and there's all these multiple stories. However, also with the illegal activity with the sexual orientation conversion, we're trying to get with this reoccurring theme. We're trying to get me interested in women, saying I'm going to be with women, blah blah blah. Sexual orientation conversion often involves rape, and the rape is used as a tool. And we need to be very clear on our understanding of it. It's not rape in the sense of criminal and the criminality of rape. So we're going to have to separate that. You have the criminal act of rape, which involves control and the sexual aggression and things of that nature. This is something totally different. Rape, when used for sexual orientation conversion, is used as a tool as a psychological tool for traumatizing somebody. It's a mental destabilizer, and then what they do is that they traumatize you. You get disheveled. as far as your comfort zone, your living area, and such. And then they move you around to try to work you into whatever program that they have going on. So we need to be very clear when we say rape. It's not necessary. It is a criminal act, yes, but it's not contextually criminal in the sense of if it was a sexual perpetrator. I mean, it's not necessarily someone that's a sexual perpetrator that's a rapist. We need to be very clear on that. This is something that's orchestrated, is strategically orchestrated as a tool, as a psychological weapon. Okay, so we need to be clear on that. So someone that could do this doesn't necessarily qualify for a sexual predator as such. If you first is your street criminal, someone who rapes women, who has raped men. So you're dealing with a whole different psych profile, and the nature of the crime is different. So we need to be very clear on those two things. You have rape as criminal, like it happens on the street or wherever it happens, but then you have rape as used, and it's used by the military or used for sexual orientation conversion it's listed as a tool for behavioral modification. So we need to be very clear on the stark contrast between those aspects. So when I'm hearing these things, these people that are familiar to me, I used to associate with it or participated in this, it's disconcerting, but it's also very believable. What happened to me could have been done by people that knew me, versus your criminal. It wasn't necessarily a criminal act, but it was part of something a lot more strategic, a lot more orchestrated, and it was a collaboration of a lot of different things going on, which for the victim, the trauma of that is, a bitter pill is to swallow what happened and what's still happening. Or even more bitter pill to swallow is the fact that it could have been a criminal. That would be a lot easier to comprehend and digest, because let's face it, a black gay man living in West Virginia, banjos. I can sleep on that. Like, I have a couple drinks every now and then. Like, you was a nigga in West Virginia and got your booty took. Really? No surprise. Like, it happens. But when we graduate from the criminal element of it being something like possibly racially motivated or just, wrong time, you were in West Virginia, to a collaboration of an orchestrated and strategic, because for behavior modifications and things that is such a start, like gang stalking, this isn't something that is done. It's a very calculated thing for my research, meaning you have therapists, psychologists, behavioral, you have analysts, possible military personnel that study a person. They'll study their background, their emotional makeup, things that they're familiar with and such, to find a way to break a person down and emotionally manipulate them, and mentally manipulate them, to bring about whatever their objective is, their goal, or the desired result that they're trying to achieve, outside of making the person crazy or just trying to torture them. There are also some military contracts, which I have read, that require that for you to be able to get your contractor's license, you must be able to perform what's considered a non-contact kill, which means the person is killed, but it's not through necessarily violence or you're actually making physical contact. Like, for case in point, to get someone to commit suicide, if you could get them to commit suicide, that would constitute a non-contact kill. And that is a prerequisite for some military licenses, is what I've read, and also is contractually some things that can be contracted for people to do. So I'll post this video, I'm gonna post the pictures. I'm not really sure what's going on, but there's elements of a lot of different things. Once again, I've got limited knowledge, and I've just got fragments of things. The gang stalking, of course, is the legal element that's being pushed, because of course that's in court, how I can win and how I can move forward. However, this appears to be something much more great, could possibly be something much more greater, as well as there were several alleged rapes that happened at Snowshoe while I was employed, during my time being employed there. There was also an accusation that Snowshoe, because of the issues, was being orchestrated to be taken over by the military, because it was supposed to be one of the most fortified locations on the East Coast. If in the event there was something to happen, it could be like a headquarters or like a home base. I'm not really sure what it's been used for, and I'm not sure the background of the area or the business. I've been told multiple times that if I knew anything about where I was, I would have never been there and I would have never went back. So there's some possible political elements, some politics going on. I'm not really sure where I fit in other than this, and I'm closing. My simple truth is, I've been through too much. And I'm concerned with the pursuit of my life, my happiness. I know what I want to do. I know where I want to go. And I know what's going to make me happy. I'm not going to be mind fucked out of that. I'm solid in my truth and who I am. Clearly, it's pussy. So separating myself from the fuckery that surrounds me has been almost has been a consuming of my energy, emotionally, mentally, and physically. To be able to separate myself to move on to my goals and my dreams and my happiness outside of, I consider it a chess game. I have my chessboard where there's pieces that I'm moving and things that I'm doing, but I'm clearly on a board with much greater players that people that I'm not even aware of that are moving around me with their agenda and what they're doing. So the goal for me is to checkmate on my goals and my dreams and get off someone else's board, so I can move on with living my life with the goals that I have for myself, my expectations, my dreams, and what I want to do and accomplish with the years and the time that I have left, and with the talents and the abilities that I have. My calling is too loud and my gifts are too great, and there's things that I have yet to manifest. I feel like I have so much more to show the world now that I've freed myself from certain things, and I'm still trying to break chains off of me, to be the best version of myself that I can be. Once again, I'm not looking for something. I don't give a fuck if you believe me or not. I'm just putting this tea out here because, I mean, tea needs to be spilled. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hearing chatter about me all the time, so I feel like, it's time to drop some shit. Like, this could be this is way over me. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm small for, I feel like this, I'm very small in comparison to what could be going on and what possibly is going on. And I'm publicly saying in all consciousness and sobriety at this time, to be able to say, this is not something I want. I never consented to this. I don't want it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I have my goals and my dreams. I'm going to have me a big ass white man with a beard. I'm living out in the country. I'm going to sing country music. I'm not sure on whatever level that's going to be. I plan on opening a restaurant and having a nonprofit and living a peaceful, happy life. This shit right here is not life. It's not what I've chosen for myself. I would have never agreed to this. I would never agree to this. And I'm finding ways to financially benefit from being a victim of domestic terrorism and torture. That's all for this time. Once again, I'm your girl, Miss Microchip, aka the Brain Hat Queen, and another one.